Hey, this is James Roten with Need Computer Help today. We're going to talk about how our company kind of started and what our original focus was. Our original focus was as an energy marketing software system developer, and we were actually started in 1999 building a package called C3, which many of us are familiar with, and often get asked the question exactly what does C3 do. So we'll talk about that a little bit today. I've purposefully opened up a what we can now call vintage marketing brochure on C3 that was originally written in 2004 when our original company was named the System Shop Incorporated. So C3 was a contract, market pricing, inventory, invoice, scheduling, and accounting management system. It was developed specifically for energy marketing companies, particularly in the natural gas liquids, refined products, and petrochemical industries. We spent a lot of time working with propane retailers and propane wholesalers, and particularly with the product as well as other NGL companies. The system featured a very integrated contract scheduling and accounting module. There was a lot of data sharing and collaboration between these modules such that there weren't handoffs or interfaces in between them. On the market side, it would download pricing for Opus, it would download pricing for Platts, as well as accept other manual pricing feeds and manual pricing inputs. It supported multiple scheduling modules from everything from trucks to rail cars to pipelines to inventory transfers to marine, very flexible scheduling functions there. Customer invoicing, accruals, accounts payable, and inventory management are all part of the product. We were at a point with the system where it was a flexible and cost-effective solution for a 10 to 50 employee company. We came in at a pricing point that made sense versus some of the larger systems on the market at the time. We had a very, very flexible ad hoc reporting module as well as corporate reporting module. We were a strong software provider. We had a solid background in the industry. We had very steady growth throughout the lifetime of this product when it was our core product. We still do a little bit of C3 work, but it's no longer our core focus. We tried to build a simple and sophisticated solution and integrate many functions into a single system, giving our customers greater confidence in decision making, reporting that was real time and addressed through an ad hoc report module, and we reduced many manual processes. We tried to eliminate Excel spreadsheets, if you know what I mean. So contracts, physical purchases, physical sales, exchange, options, swaps, and futures, flexibility in pricing many different variables including dates, volumes, transmodes, and many more, formula price calculation for Opus formulas or Platts formulas or supplier postings or customer postings or postings that one of our customers would have published, including month averages, postings, wrap type formulas like a 3-day wrap, and an ad hoc expression builder which would primarily be used on, say, an if-then-else type formula. So a lower of a posting or an Opus price, for example, would often be set up as an if-then-else. One of the very strong components of the system was the ability to price multiple component streams. So, for example, an ethane propane mix where it would be about 80% ethane, 20% propane. And each one of those streams within the single product would have its own pricing mechanism, but when the final product movement came in place, it was never really 80-20. The system would automate most of that and price everything accordingly. Contract printing was always a big part of the application, the ability to print a contract and send it to our customer real time as that contract was entered in the system. Market pricing, as we've talked about, tracking of cash market and futures markets on a current and historical basis, automatic interfaces with several such as Platts, Opus, and DTN, the flexible formula builder we've kind of talked a little bit about with wraps and month averages and postings, and weekly formulas, so Monday through Friday average of. We would even see some weird ones like a Wednesday through Tuesday, and then the ad hoc expression builder. These formula prices were calculated automatically, so for an invoice it would calculate that price automatically, as well as for an accrual, or as well as on a corporate report that might show a scheduled but uninvoiced product and what was our best known price. Reporting and historical graphing of market pricing to analyze market positions and trend movements was also something a lot of our customers really enjoyed in the system. So, marine scheduling. This was one of our very custom scheduling modules that we built for a particular customer. This module was a lot of fun to put together. Ability to schedule purchases, exchanges, sales, and inventory from a single screen. Real-time scheduled and delivered contract volumes. Automated tracking of in-transit balances on marine movements, and ability to add secondary costs on a movement-by-movement basis, and then automatic feed to invoicing and accrual modules after actualization. And the one unique part about the marine module is the ability to do a one-to-many, a many-to-one, or even a many-to-many. So you could have a single marine movement that came from 2 purchases and went to 2 sales and 1 inventory, for example. Pipeline scheduling, again, fairly similar to marine, the ability to purchase and schedule, purchase, sales, and exchange contracts by pipeline cycle numbers across major pipelines. Availability of real-time scheduled and delivered contract volumes, clear segregation of all volumes by pipeline cycle number. I know that was a big deal in that module. And a simple actualization process for marking pipeline movements is completed, along with the ability to track secondary costs on a movement-by-movement basis. Rail and truck scheduling would again allow you to do purchases, exchanges, and sales and inventory from a single screen. You could have a rail and truck order that would have 1 rail car. It may have 80 rail cars. It could have 1 truck. It could have 35 trucks. You could schedule all of your movements to a particular customer, for example, throughout the month on 1 single order, and then track those as they went through. It would automatically track in transit balances on rail movements, so you would have the ability to have on a single movement the supply side when you loaded the rail car, and that might be priced on load, and then you would have the delivery side when you unloaded the rail car, and that might be priced on load date or even on unload date. And so a lot of flexibility there, along with the ability to manage secondary costs such as freight, transportation, surcharges, demurrage, those type of things that you'll commonly run into in scheduling via rail and truck. Natural gas liquid scheduling, probably our simplest of the scheduling modules, and there again the ability to match purchases, exchanges, and sales together, the ability to watch those and make sure we were getting all of our NGL contracts scheduled and matched together by the end of the month, the ability to enter the lineups by company, and then set those NGL delivery contracts with multiple supply contracts and track them accordingly, again with secondary costs where needed. Retail transport dispatching. This was a module that was built for several of our propane retail customers, and at one point was used by one of the larger propane retailers in the United States, and would allow a lot of great pricing optimization, freight optimization abilities to really be able to see for a given retail location where we were supplying trucks from it, where would be the best place to source that product. And oftentimes with this module you may source it from a location further than you would typically source it, just due to a market opportunity, either with supply costs or freight costs or both. Automatic dispatching of loads with real-time management of that. Price notification to dispatchers when you had scheduled a load but the supply cost changed. And this was all a web-based module, which at the time was very new, that a geographically dispersed user base could go onto a web portal and do all of their scheduling through a browser. Inventory management, automated calculation of inventory balances using either a weighted average or FIFO methodology, tight integration with scheduling to automatically book receipts and deliveries real time, simple and efficient tracking of transfers, gains, loss, company use, and custom configuration of inventory pools by location, by product, by company, and by division is required. So this allowed us to run a weighted average pool. And let's say on a propane retailer, they may have 3 branches that were in one pool and 1 branch that was in another pool, and various combinations like that where you could create those inventory pools and match them together. On a distillate situation, you might have certain distillate products like very similar grades of kerosene that would be blended together in one retail pool, for example, for costing purposes. At the end of that, an automatic gross margin report and an automatic cost of goods sold flash and month-end reporting were generated out of this module. Customer invoice. Once you've scheduled it, once you've actualized it, the system automatically generates accurate customer invoices. Those may be based on formula prices. They may be based on a fixed cost. Unresolved formula prices can automatically generate a provisional price invoice where needed. Secondary costs, additional fees, taxes, perks, etc. are added to the invoice automatically when applicable, along with an integrated credit and rebill process to handle updates and changes quickly and efficiently. Costing and accruals. Similar to customer invoicing, but on the purchase side, where we're having an automatic generation of cost accruals after the product is scheduled and actualized, automatic generation of secondary cost accruals, formulas are calculated, utilization of provisional prices similar to customer invoicing, and then an application of vendor invoices against those accruals that closes the accrual and sets an open accounts payable that gets sent to the accounting system. Again, an integrated revision process to handle updates and changes to this. Derivatives. So we had a number of customers that might be doing over-the-counter derivatives, such as puts, calls, and swaps. Would manage the pricing on those, manage the settlement on those. It would accrue and invoice the premiums on the option contracts, and then at the end of the month, the option contracts that settled in the money would have an automatic accrual or invoice generated, and then a swap would also have an automatic accrual or invoice generated, and these could be one accrual or invoice per counterparty, or we could take each contract that they had, and so one counterparty might have accruals and invoices in the same month, and then they're again based on a positive or negative settlement. Accounting automation. We always kind of ended at creating an invoice and printing an invoice and creating a payable. From there, we would commonly hand off to an accounting system in customer invoices, by general ledger account, with an offset to accounts receivable going into an invoicing module in an accounting system. Cost accruals, inventory, cost of goods sold would commonly be booked as journal entries, and then the vendor invoices would be booked as an accounts payable entry with general ledger distribution attached to it as well. Technology overview. This was originally a Microsoft Windows-based software package. It was originally written in Visual Basic 6.0, originally with a SQL Server 2000 database. That's been upgraded over the years. It's currently an ASP.NET front end. I believe our latest we're running right now is SQL Server 2012, I believe. Ad hoc reporting tools to give very flexible options, as well as gives us options on how we are able to deliver and deploy reports to our users that they need. In any of our implementations, we were always doing custom software development. We were always utilizing core Microsoft.NET technologies, VB6.0 obviously historically, and ASP.NET in our later iterations over the last 6 or 8 years. Solutions can be tailored to work in conjunction with C3, where we could build a custom module but appeared on the menu inside the application, and to our end user appeared as part of the core application. Or oftentimes we might build an entire standalone application. With our ASP.NET background, that became even more flexible for us to deliver those types of solutions. Always use SQL Server reporting services, as well as various other Microsoft technologies. From this business, we started our application hosting business, and that has obviously grown into our data center and cloud business that we operate today. But this is where it all began, because we had customers that we were developing C3 for that wanted a hosting platform to run the application on. Our company history: we were originally founded in 1999. C3 was our original flagship product. We always looked for cost-effective custom solutions for a wide range of companies in the energy marketplace. We always worked to facilitate smooth and enjoyable system migrations if such a thing exists. And we always work to achieve a positive and energetic work environment where our staff excelled in meeting our customers' needs and requirements, as well as excelled in their own personal careers as well. So we've had a good run with that. We've enjoyed it, and obviously today that legacy continues with Need Computer Help.